because they're going to score 100 points, all right?
Oh, God. Moving on. We have the Indianapolis Colts favored by 5 when they take on these Denver Broncos, no longer with Emmanuel Sanders. A sneaky play in this one for me. You've got Jack Doyle banged up. I think Eric Ebron is going to have himself a nice little game.
Does he have as many drops as he does touchdown catches?
Good question.
Yeah, I'm going to take Indy as well, Dillon. Even though they got old Ebron starting, I mean, you still got some weapons that on the outside for Indy. You still got Marlon Mack. You still got Naheem Hines. I mean, there's still plenty of weapons there. Bryce Callahan's out, so that means, just more weaknesses on the Denver secondary. I think Indy wins 27-17.
Oh, I got this one another blowout, 31-13. Broncos are freaking, they can't get out of their own way. This is
called John Elway can't get out of his way.
They can't get out of their Elway, play on words.
Oh, speaking of which, I got to mention something real quick. Did y'all hear that nugget? Elway became really good friends with Osweiler while he was his son's roommate in college, and that's why he picked him over Russell Wilson. It wasn't because of height. It's because he became fond of Osweiler.
All I know is
Can you imagine the Broncos with Russell Wilson?
They wouldn't have traded away Emmanuel Sanders. They would have had Sanders, Sutton, Fant, Russell Wilson, Phillip Lindsay.
And don't forget to send me a trade offer about that Sutton thing. I am intrigued about that.
Hey, Russell Wilson is half the size that Paxton Lynch is.
And he's also
he's 4 times the quarterback. He might be half the size, but he's 4 times the quarterback. Come on. Like, there's
Paxton
things
Lynch,
when we're
Jeffrey
talking
the Giraffe's baby.
Like, okay, again, in all seriousness, there's things when we're talking about greats and we get into nitpicking all-time great quarterbacks and you start hearing me say negative things about Russell Wilson, that's because we're nitpicking against all-time greats, people. Like, don't give me this crap that Russell Wilson's your average everyday quarterback because I've nitpicked him when we get in these conversations of him versus Brady or Rodgers or his all-time status against all these Hall of Fame great quarterbacks. That's a completely separate conversation of who he is as a starting quarterback of the 32 in the league right now today. That, like, I just want to be clear about that. Like, those are 2 different conversations that should not be meshed together or taken as a one take together. They're totally different. Russell Wilson's a stud in the league right now.
Oh, Russell Wilson's a stud in the league right now. He's been a stud in the league.
And now Dillon is shorting out on us.
No, I can hear Dillon. It's just his camera decided to have him sideways. I don't know how that happened.
I don't know. He's froze up on my screen. But anyway, where were we? We got Colts, yes. Colts, Broncos, 31-13. I've got them. Blowout. Yeah. Jacoby Brissett has proved he can do it, and the Broncos are – this
Prove me wrong.
is going to send them in a complete dumpster fire. They may be trying to get rid of guys like Von Miller after this week because I think they really need to look at the age of all their stars and think of how far out they are on this rebuild because guys like Von Miller are too old to keep around for a rebuild, and that's what they need to do. They're the 3rd team that you could probably start listing after this week as a team you want to play for a get-right game.
Yep. All right, Dillon, what's your next game, buddy?
We moved down to New Orleans, where you have the Saints welcoming back Drew Brees, unfortunately without Alvin Kamara. But hey, Latavius Murray's been playing great. Saints are favored by 12.5 in this battle versus the Arizona Cardinals, and I actually like them to cover. I think Kyler Murray's going to have himself a rough game. Saints have been pretty stingy on defense. That front 7 is pretty stellar, and then you've got Lattimore doing thing on the back end. So yeah, I like New Orleans to cover the 12.5. And you got no DJ for Arizona, so throw that in there.
I'm taking my stance. I think Drew Brees comes back too soon. I think he's a little rough. I think Arizona upsets New Orleans in New Orleans.
Oh,
30-23.
Oh, my God, Dave, you are a beautiful mind. If I could reach through the screen right now and kiss you, I would, because you know what? Great
I
minds
think
think
Drew Brees
alike.
throws a game-ending interception trying to have a comeback, but I don't think it's enough. I think Cliff Kingsbury is going to have a plan for Kyler Murray, and you got to think the Saints have been balling out against pretty good. You can make that face all you want, Dillon. You stop it.
I can't see his face, but Dillon, you're wrong.
I can't.
You're doing on camera.
No, I think Kyler Murray's going to be a new quarterback the Saints haven't faced this year.
You guys, even if somehow Drew Brees sucks in this game, Bridgewater has been getting it done. What are you talking about?
Bridgewater, exactly. Now they're putting in a QB who we don't even know if his thumb's fully fixed.
Well,
he says it is.
What it is. Stop. Time out, guys. I had this as my upset of. I had this as my upset of the week, Dillon. I started and I circled it. I've got the Cards upsetting them 31-28, and here's why. It's the upset of the week. And because Drew Brees, do you know why Drew Brees is coming back 2 to 3 weeks early? It ain't because his thumb is fully healed and because he can throw a Nerf ball and throw a ball and do frickin' what is it? It's shadow boxing thumb wars with his thumb every time he throws the ball. Like that has anything to do with playing in a game where you're going to get hit. You can throw the ball and hit that thumb at any point. He's doing it because that other quarterback is 5-0. That other quarterback has been re-signed and told that he is the future. And this is where the storyline I've been trying to tell people about Drew Brees. He's an a-hole, guys. He's a selfish, arrogant a-hole that only cares about Drew Brees and Drew Brees' legacy. This is a most selfish damn thing that Drew Brees did, and it's going to blow up in his face, in my opinion. He's going to have 2 fumbles because that thumb ain't ready. He's going to throw 2 interceptions because that thumb ain't ready to be throwing the ball. He's going to stink it up, and he's going to screw up what his team had going because he can't take sitting on the bench and watching the guy that he knows is going to take his job when he decides to go 5-0 and run this team. He doesn't run it the way that he does, but that's because he is slowly being brought into this offense and made comfortable so that he doesn't get broken because he is their future. This absolutely sets up to be a complete disaster for Drew Brees, and I don't like Drew Brees. I'm not a Drew Brees guy. You know how I feel about him, and this absolutely fits into how I feel and everything I've heard about this guy and what he is as a person and as a player and as a teammate in that organization. This is the biggest bullshit, hurried, rushed, selfish move I've seen done by a franchise, so-called franchise player in a long time. The Packers forced Aaron Rodgers to come back to try to save Mike McCarthy's job, and he did it. This is the opposite. He basically came out this week, guys, and said, when I tell my coach that I'm ready to go, he knows that I mean I'm ready to go, and he don't have a choice. If Aaron Rodgers said that shit, you want to talk about having a field day. But because he's one of their favorites, we didn't hear much about it.
Updated news, Christian Kirk should be active today as well for fantasy news.
Last I saw, he was game time, so there you go. Christian Kirk owners, make a decision.
Upset.
Now you get another weapon. I know Saints secondary is still good. I'm not knocking that, but I mean, you still have Robinson down as well, who's one of their corners, and I believe he's one of their slot guys. So Christian Kirk goes in against a backup corner.
Guys, talk about being in the archives. I am beaming with delight right now that all of that is saved in the cloud, wherever it needs to be saved, for all of our listeners to come back and not only listen to you guys claim that the Cardinals would stomp the Saints today, which is absolutely hilarious.
4 in a row.
Brees. We had a rant about Drew Brees being a selfish man after, I think he's like a multi-time Walter Payton man of
Hey, you can take me off of that. Jay's the one who called him selfish. That was his little segue.
So you're telling? Oh, you know what? Do you know what? I am so tired of this. Oh, he won Man of the Year. That makes him a good person.
I didn't say that either.
I
don't care.
Guys, we have people that go and put on a collar, preach the word of God week after week, and then go out and are goddamn criminals and pedophiles in their private lives. I don't give a shit.
Are you calling Drew Brees a pedophile?
No, I'm saying I don't give a shit what your public persona is.
Your
Between
pedophilia?
you can go ahead and win all the Man of the Year awards, and guess what? It doesn't mean that you're not capable of being a complete asshole and selfish and being a douchebag on certain levels. I have listened to too many people that actually have covered him and wrote about him, that these stories, in my opinion, have been formed off of. This ain't Jay just saying, oh, I don't like him. I actually thought Drew Brees was one of the good guys until I started listening to these stories and finding these guys that knew him and what they had to say about him, beat writers and reporters that were people in the building with him.
Breaking news real quick.
Opinion.
Vikings safety Jaron Kearse, who plays next to Harrison Smith, one of the starters, has been arrested for a DUI and a weapons charge. So Minnesota might be without one of their safeties going forward.
That was
okay.
Sorry, no, Jay, I was trying to end your rant. I just came up.
It's fine. It's good. I'm done. I'm over it now.
So you're saying Tyreek Hill has a Man of the Year shot next year?
Moving into the last 1 o'clock game for this week, you have those Buffalo Bills looking to circle the wagons against my Philadelphia Eagles. Bills are currently favored by 2 points at home, which means there's not a lot of confidence in them, as we mentioned earlier. I'm not exactly sure about this, but I believe just being a home alone is supposed to have you favored by 3. So
The Wet Bandits.
Not even just as an Eagles fan, all right? I mean, we know Josh Allen can be inaccurate. We know that the Eagles have a great rush defense, so it's going to take a few bombs to John Brown. Cole Beasley has always been a pain in my ass, and I am not looking forward to watching him more today because I know it's just going to be 8 catches, 64 yards, and a crucial third down conversion for Cole Beasley. But I actually have faith today. I think the Eagles need this win now more than ever. They're looking at the Cowboys saying we got to keep pace. Philly comes in. They freaking win outright, and goddamn it, we get right, and we make a playoff push. Fly, Eagles, fly.
I'm going to cut that short and say Eagles wings are clipped today. I think I think Buffalo circles the wagons just fine. I think you're going to see a lot of Frank Gore and Devin Singletary. Yeah, Buffalo secondary. Sorry, guys, but I watched Nelson Aguilar completely go half-ass on a route last week, and not even he didn't even have to dive. He just had to reach out and catch the ball, and he just put his arms down. Like, nope, not doing it today. So he's not going to get those same looks with his Buffalo secondary. You're going to get guys like Tre'Davious White out there on him, and you're not going to get that same look. So I think Buffalo wins 21-13. I think it might be a little bit closer game, but I'm giving the 8-point spread here. Philly's secondary is just, I don't think Philly's pass rush has time to get there because of the secondary. When you got guys like Craig James trying to cover John Brown, Cole Beasley, and Dawson Fort Knox, that it's going to be hurdling people and lowering his shoulder today, which they've had problems with tight ends. Even the win against Green Bay, Jimmy Graham's still a good game against them. And I think Dawson Knox is going to have a day.
Oh, calling out the Dawson Knox breakout.
Dawson
Dillon,
Fort Knox, thank you.
More bad news for you, sir, because Dave and I did not talk, but we've had a few of these picks the same here. I got the Bills not only covering, but winning outright 17-14. The Eagles just, this is a locker room issue for me, and a split that's going on that's being reported, and some issues that starts with the quarterback.
Alshon calling out his QB.
If we're gonna sit here and listen as Packer fans all this crap about leadership and locker room presence and receivers liking you and players liking you and that affecting wins and losses, when we have to hear it about Aaron Rodgers, I'm going to shed some light on it when it's starting to be said about a guy that hasn't really won anything and actually was on the bench and got injured, and their only ring that place has ever won came from a backup quarterback. I'm going to start questioning it, and I want it brought up. He's a very talented QB. I like his mechanics. I like his potential. I like the results that we've seen for the most part so far. This, I don't like. And there is something to be said with how their season's going, and this being the second year in a row this story has now started to creep its way into the headlines. That's once, twice, there's smoke, there's fire. Excuse me.
Oh,